Welcome back, fiber folks. My name is Trent. I'm the Weftrite, and welcome to my studio here in the mountains of Western North Carolina. So today is an important topic. I actually got an email from a subscriber on the channel asking, well, what is the perfect loom for me? Or what is the loom that I should buy? And the best floor loom, like that's maybe one of the questions I get most often asked. And unfortunately, there's not really a single answer. If you spend any time on weaving Facebook groups, you've probably seen people recommending everything from like antique barn looms all the way to 16 shaft production looms with dobbies. But I think most people are really asking the wrong question is not is the perfect loom, what is the best loom on the market, but what is the best loom for me or for you? In fact, I think the best loom is the loom that you're actually going to weave on, and that's really important. Before you think about brands, think about what you actually want to make. Are you someone who wants to make towels, scarves, blankets, rugs, garment fabric, or maybe a little bit of everything? If all you want to weave is towels and scarves, you probably don't need a 60-inch loom, right? Even if you plan on weaving yardage, you may not need a wide loom because the actual pattern pieces and the garments you're making are probably not 60 inches wide, right? Like I think that you can get vests or ruanas out of very easily out of 15 inches on a loom, up to 20 inches, depending on your size, of course. So take that into consideration. As well, blankets. A lot of people are wanting to weave blankets and they think, oh, I need a really wide loom for that. But the truth is, you can also weave blankets in double weave, double width. And so you can make the blanket twice as wide with the loom that you have, right? You just need 4 shafts for that. And if you have 8 shafts, even better. You can do some patterns along with your double width, double wide blanket. So a 60-inch loom may not be necessary even for some of the weaves that you may consider. If you dream about complex patterns, then shaft count does become important, but you can achieve a lot on 8 shafts, and many people never have a desire to go beyond 8 shafts. Though there are brands that make some 12 shaft looms that I think are worth looking at, because 12 shaft looms are still pretty easy to do a tie up on and treadle, but once you get above 12 shafts, like a 16-inch or 16 shaft loom, that's a lot of treadles to keep track of. So you may want to consider a dobby loom. A lot of people recommend production dobby looms. A lot of different companies have dobby looms, but yeah, I find that I actually bought a dobby loom last summer and I haven't showed it on camera yet. I did weave one project on it, which is very pretty. I'll show you that now. But I find that I still am drawn to my more simple looms. In fact, my favorite loom still to this day is my 4 shaft counterbalance loom. And I mainly just work plain weave or basic twills because it's super easy to weave quickly. And I'm really focusing on textures and colors a lot of the times. So ask yourself, what do I want to weave? How wide does it need to be? How complicated of a structure do I enjoy? I've met weavers who've bought like giant looms because they thought they would weave blanket, and 5 years later, the only thing they've woven on it is towels. So don't put yourself into a box and think about what I said earlier. Maybe that perfect towel loom that's 36 inches wide will be fine for a blanket because you're going to be weaving double weave. So you can have a variety of things. You also may want to think about if you're going to weave rugs. One of the things that's very important for rug weaving is you have a very sturdy loom. So you might want to choose one that's a little heavier with heavier timbers built into it. And also think about the shedding mechanism and how much tension. Rugs take a lot of tension, and you want as wide a shed as possible for a rug loom. So looking at things like counterbalance looms are really good for that. People often measure the loom but forget to measure the room. You have to make sure that you know the studio and the space that you're putting it in. So one of the things is bench space. Do you have enough room behind where you have to put the loom to put the bench and for you to get in and out of it? In my room right here, as you see, the bench is very close to the window. And as you may have noticed, I like to have my back to the window when I'm weaving. Though this house doesn't have a particularly spectacular view, I still prefer to have the light coming from behind me rather than looking out to sea. You also need to make sure you have warp handling space. Warping the loom is really important. One of my studios, my smallest studio, I only had about maybe 24 inches or a little bit more of space between the wall and the back of my loom. And that was just enough space for me to do my sectional warping. And if you're doing warping from back to front, you're going to need space in front of the loom as well. So these are all considerations about the space that you have. So you may want to choose a loom that needs less room to warp too. So I won't mention a lot of brands. Maybe at the end I'll cover a few of them, but that is important. Think about storage. I really love weaving benches that have built-in storage. The Leclerc open-sided bench is my absolute favorite bench I've ever used in my life. They are expensive, but they have flip-top storage that you actually sit on, and then they have open-side storage for your actual weaving equipment. So this is really the heart of what I wanted to talk about is, does a loom fit your body? This is a thing that a lot of people don't talk about when they're recommending looms. Will the loom fit me? Some things that you really need to consider is your ability. First of all, I'm a very large person, and so I needed a loom that was going to fit me height-wise. Unfortunately, the Dobby loom that I bought is quite short for me, and I don't really enjoy weaving on it at all. Obviously, there are some adjustments that can be made with the bench, but you also want maximum power when you're using your legs on treadles, if your loom has treadles. Another consideration might be tie-ups. I'm a very large person and I have arthritis, and getting down on the floor to do tie-ups can be very challenging for me. And even so, I still get down there and do it on my David loom. And the tie-up system, while simple, is pretty fiddly, especially for someone who has really big hands like me. So I do struggle sometimes with that tie-up. Once again, it is a very simple tie-up system. It just, my personal ability kind of gets in the way sometimes. One other thing you may want to consider is the treadling pressure. If you have arthritis in your back and knees, you want a loom that has a pretty light treadling, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Another thing about the size of the loom is making sure that on either side of your loom in your room, you have room to throw the shuttle and catch it properly. Um, you can't have too tight of a space or else you won't be able to actually weave the cloth. Some other things you might want to consider are shoulder mobility and how far you have to reach to get the beater. Most looms are pretty standard. The Louët David is a little shallower, which means I don't have to reach over as far. But there are also looms, especially top hung traditional beaters, that you might have to reach quite far, and you may have to have the shoulder strength to move that hanging beater um, as you progress in your weaving. So think about that as well. Also think about your reach as a weaver. If you have a loom that's 60 inches wide, you may not physically be able to reach and throw those shuttles. And so there are options for that. Obviously, you could get a flying shuttle apparatus for your loom, but those can be quite expensive. And some people don't enjoy the physical experience of weaving with flying shuttles. So that's really up to you. I have my own physical limitations, and when I looked for a loom, I wasn't just asking, what can I weave? I was also asking what my body can do. So, can you reach the treadles? Can you do the tie-ups? Can you beam a warp comfortably? Is it the right height for you? Can you sit there for hours? I personally try to take a break every 30 minutes or so when I'm weaving because I want to keep my body in as best shape as possible. And I found if I weave for hours at a time, that's not really a benefit to me or to the work I'm doing. Another consideration is if it's new versus used. There are some looms that are very uncommon to find in the used markets. For one of them is these Louët looms. Every now and then you'll see one, especially when they release a new model. But this is the loom I wanted. I had tried treadling on it, and though my feet are a little wide for the treadle spacing, the treadle action is really, really light, which is something that I was looking for as someone with knee and back problems. But I couldn't find that. Now, my first two floor looms, one I bought in an antique shop, and it was quite old, a vintage loom, and another vintage loom that I bought on it was on eBay actually, was my Leclerc loom that I sold actually. I didn't have room for both the big looms here, so I sold one of my floor looms. But I really appreciate, one of the things that I loved about buying looms used is often you get a lot of stuff with it. I got all kinds of yarn and accessories. I even got an electric bobbin winder when I bought my first floor loom. So it was pretty exciting to get all that stuff with it. But you can also see a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes on Craigslist, I don't check there often. And a really important resource is guilds. So if you have a local weaving guild, check your guild website. They often have posts about things that people are selling. I almost always ask people to consider buying a secondhand loom. First of all, it prevents waste. And oftentimes these looms have a lot of history behind them. And some of them even come with what I call a ghost warp, a warp that you're not really sure of what it is, but you might want to weave it off anyway because it has that history of the previous weaver. So used looms obviously are going to give you a better value, oftentimes more accessories, and there's just more loom for the money. New looms, you're going to get things like warranties and support and making sure that there are parts still available. Though if you buy from a brand that still exists, like Leclerc, they almost always will have some kind of part that will help you make your loom work again if you need some assistance. Your first loom doesn't have to be your forever loom. Remember that too. Looms come and go all the time. There's some people who have a loom and they love it their whole lives. There's some people who have a loom and they want to upgrade or change the kind of stuff they weave, and so um, they end up selling it and buying another one. So don't think that you have to be stuck with this loom the rest of your life. Someone will want to buy it. So notice that brands are coming near the end of this conversation, not the beginning. So now we get into brands. Let's talk about brands. First of all, looms that I've personally owned, I have the Louët David, which I love, though I think the model I had a little few quirks that I had to work out, and I added some accessories of my own. That's something I think is really important, is don't be afraid to adapt your loom to your needs. Looms are tools. They're not, they can look like beautiful pieces of furniture, but they're also tools. So make sure your loom does the things that you need it to do. Another brand that I owned personally was a Leclerc loom. This was a Leclerc loom from 1964, so it was quite old, and it was an older model, and I found the treadling to be very heavy, but the loom was very, very sturdy. It was great for weaving rugs. Another common brand that a lot of people use is the Schacht looms. Um, Schacht, I never remember what it is. They were recently acquired by Louët, but I think they're keeping distinct products in each line. And those looms, like the Baby Wolf, are really incredible. They are made lightweight and collapsible, so they're very easy to store if you don't have a permanent space. However, they're not really great for things like rugs, for instance. They just aren't quite sturdy enough for that. And I think the treadling is pretty light, especially for a lifting jack loom. We'll talk a little bit about another mechanism, but I think that there, for a lifting jack loom, is a really, really good option. Glimåkra makes some amazing looms. If you're looking at weaving large or weaving in the Swedish style, weaving long warps, I really like Glimåkra. They have some amazing, amazing stuff. Obviously, Ashford has some great looms. I've never woven on one or even seen one in person, but they look great online. They look like they have everything you need, and they're good tutorials, and they have materials for repairing and parts and all that kind of stuff, which is really great. Another brand that I recommend to a lot of people with mobility issues is the Harrisville Design looms. A lot of people don't think about them, but I particularly enjoy their loom because they have a lifting action. So when you pull on the treadle, there are pulleys that lift, and I find that action a little bit lighter for me. Once again, they're small looms and they are not going to be great for really high tension rugs, but they come in a variety of sizes, and you can buy them in kits or pre-assembled, which I think is pretty neat. And they are really comfortable to weave on, especially if you have a smaller frame as a weaver. So the truth of the matter is, a Louët feels different than a Glimåkra, etc. One of the things I recommend is going into a store that sells looms. Most states have one, but sometimes it can be quite the drive. Another option is to contact a local fiber guild, and local could be 2 hours away, but that's better than the 6 hours away that the weaving store is, and say, hey, am interested in buying a loom. Do any of your guild members have this particular brand? I'd love to try it out. And weavers are so friendly for the most part, and I'm sure they would want you to come and check it out before you make a big purchase like that. I don't really recommend one loom because every loom has its strengths. There are some looms that are designed to be portable and collapsible and fit into your life better if you don't have a studio. There's some looms that are meant to fill a huge room and be meant for things like weaving Swedish double harness weaves, all that kind of fun, complicated stuff. There are some looms that are meant for production, like AVL. I haven't mentioned AVL before in this video um, because they are quite expensive and not what everyone wants. Though I will say their basic non-dobby loom, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I'll show a picture. Um, it does not have a on treadle tie-up, so the tie-up is done on the side of the loom. So if you want a traditional treadled loom, but you don't want to have to get on the ground to tie up, that's a really, really cool feature as well. But if you do have multi-shaft dreams where you want to weave on 16 or 24 or 32 shafts, the AVL Dobby looms are a really great option. But also consider brands like Leclerc, who have the Weave Bird, who I've heard has the lightest treadle action of any Dobby loom. So the takeaway is, don't shop for brand first. Shop for a loom that fits your needs. So after all the talk about brands and shafts and widths and budgets, what do you want to remember is the best loom isn't the biggest loom, it definitely isn't the most expensive loom, and it isn't necessarily the newest loom. The best loom is the loom you're actually going to weave on. So make sure you consider your body and your space when it's time to choose your first loom. And make sure you know your budget, because there are options all across the board. Weaving doesn't have to be a dream. You can make it a reality. You just have to be crafty and be patient sometime to find the perfect loom for you. Thank you very much. I'd love for you to subscribe. Until next time, I'm the Weft Right. Keep on crafting.